Well. Look who's back to making commentary videos after making a few mediocre gameplay videos. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing what I always love doing, is making these kinds of videos, but I kind of want to do it in a different way, at least from here on out. And, yeah, we're going to be talking about right-wingers again, but hold on, not just any right-wingers, right-winged VTubers. I know, right? Crazy to think that they actually exist, considering that, places like Hololive or even small indie VTubers that are against this sort of thing, and as well as like very openly accepting to minorities in the LGBTQ community. But hey, the rise of right wing has already been happening earlier this year, and it's been happening for a little bit of time. And of course, it's being normalized in content creation. So why wouldn't it be normalized in the VTubing community? I guess all those dorks saying VTubing should be brought into politics weren't really expecting this, were they? And they're kind of silent about this, aren't they? But anyways, and I'm pretty sure you've seen some of my videos, possibly making fun of these people. Well, not possibly, I definitely did do that. And of course, I did it for fun, to poke fun at them. Because, sometimes with these topics, they can get a little bit dark, they can get a little bit too, headachy. So, just to make fun of it and stuff like that. But I don't want to just do that. I don't want to be the class clown comedian trying to make fun of these people. I want to do more than just that, basically. I want to also talk about why these people are bad and how it's sort of like affecting the VTubing community in this sort of way. So, as I said before, the phrase, politics shouldn't be in the VTubing community. And as well as I said before, like people from Hololive or even just indie VTubers, being openly accepting, and as well as some of them being trans too. And honestly, respect for those people, and I fully endorse them. But here's the issue that most people don't understand, though, is that, as I said before, right-wing ideologies, and of course, Donald Trump being in office, in as well as very popular speakers as well on social media, and especially some of them that had some unfortunate events happening too. They have always been around, and they have grown bigger and bigger than ever since this bullshit started to kick off. Mostly influencing in spaces like YouTube Shorts or TikTok and even Instagram and God forbid fucking Twitter, where they have captivated a very young audience around Gen Z, maybe even pushing it to Gen Y, as well as, just trying to prey upon just very young, impressionable men so that they can indoctrinate them into their own beliefs. The problem with this is that it's very, very bad beliefs. They're right-wing beliefs. Of course they're bad. And so that's how other, popular content creators such as XQC, Aiden Ross, whoever the fuck, if anybody does actually watch those people, that's how they also captivated their young and impressionable audience to do the same things that they do, which is very bad, and we've seen the effects of it too. When it comes to VTubing though, it doesn't fit too well. But you know what? It makes them money. And that's actually sort of the main reason why they do it. And also the reason why people endorse right-wing or ideologies, or I guess downplay them, because of how normalized it is and how increasingly more normalized it's going to be, and how YouTube and Twitch have also just decided to be like, I don't care about these people. We're just going to let them continue to use our platform and give them a slap on the wrist whenever they do something bad. Tectone got banned. Don't worry, guys. He'll be back again tomorrow. Does he turn off his camera, or does he hold it in all stream? So let me tell you why that's an issue in the VTubing community. Well, as I said, it's becoming normalized, so it would make sense for right-wingers to want to become VTubers, or VTubers becoming right-wing to push their own ideologies that way into their form of content creation and try to take advantage of clueless and vulnerable audience to listen to them, and it kind of turns out to be pretty bad, I'm sure you've heard me talk about people like Rev. I mean, I made a video making fun of him, and you should go watch that because, well, I'm actually not funny. But also what started me to make that video about Rev is because of this hilarious interaction. And yet this interaction may be hilarious, it's also quite notable too about Rev's motives behind everything he does. And as well as I could speak on all right-wingers as well for this, is that they don't care about what they actually say they're trying to protect. Transphobes and right-wingers say they will push back against, like, topics of slavery, trans rights, anything like that. They will try to push back and try to suppress and censor those. as a way to protect the kids. Oh, think about the kids, you know, playing the violent video games, listening to the songs. Oh my god, we gotta make sure people don't play porn games. It's for the kids. They don't give a shit about kids. Because my entire interaction with Rev knew that when he was talking to me, that I was a minor, okay? And Rev has said some pretty disgusting shit about trans people and femboys about 4 or 5 years ago. Very fucking gross. I can't believe he was proud of saying this. But as he was interacting with me, he knew I was a minor, and yet he still decided to press on this situation instead of ignoring me. And yeah, and I probably could have made the decision to not interact with him, but you have to understand, I didn't have any followers back then. He has a shit ton. And yet he decided to interact with a kid and decided to harass them. Not trying to play the victim on this, because really though, I really don't care if this did happen or not. And by all means, I could have a good laugh out of it. But the problem is that his audience weren't that nice to me. They said some pretty outlandish and horrible things. Rev can say whether he endorses this or not. He does endorse this kind of behavior, because anything that his audience does or says wouldn't be there unless if he influenced it. People telling me that I'm being groomed, I shouldn't be on Twitter, that I've been, quote, raped or raped, as some of these pedophiles will say, just other disgusting, horrible shit. And I'm like, you guys will really go out of your way to tell people this, especially to someone you know that is a kid, too. It's like, I mean, obviously, to me, I don't give a shit. I could just laugh because, like, look at these silly grown-ups. Oh shit, wait, I'm a grown-up too. But also, some people's feelings are different, and they are more likely to not take it the right way. And they shouldn't, because this is really bad behavior. Despite how, you know, how silly this is, it's just not right. And yet, Rev will ignore certain things like that coming from his audience, because he'll either say, oh, it's normal, or oh, I don't endorse this, and give some half-assed speech or whatever. Or just be completely ignorant about it, and that's what many of these right-wingers do. People like Kershi, who is also a big VTuber, and also hangs out with other big VTubers, believes in the Great Replacement theory. I'm not fucking kidding you. Also, this video right here is also real too. Trust me when I say I wish this shit wasn't real, because it looks like it's not, but it is. And that's not the scary part. It's not that these people think that they can just say this shit without any, like, condemnation or whatever the fuck. But also, their audience actively listening to them, and people still trying to endorse them or, you know, downplay anything that they do and still be around them, follow them, hang out with them, do whatever the fuck with them. That's the really bad part. And of course, those same dorks that are like, oh, politics shouldn't be in VTubing community, or whatever the fuck. It's also led to other big content creators, and even VTubers as well, to just warm up to those people. And yeah, that is not just the worst part though, is that how normalized this will get, and how wide this will spread to many vulnerable audiences that watch these VTubers. Yes, there are some that are mostly chill that will either ignore this or do support us. But there's still that good amount of them in their audiences that will warm up to these people, that will just, you know, completely ignore what they do, downplay them, and even just agree with them or start to become like them. And if you're wondering, oh, what's the worst they could do? They already have done the worst. The people that they have endorsed already have done the worst. And they want to treat Charlie Kirk like they're a god or whatever, or like, oh, he didn't deserve to die. But when it comes to like a trans person committing suicide, they want to act like, oh, it's not a big deal, or they'll actively make fun of this person because get owned, liberals. It's just very sick and honestly very biased too. Obviously, they of course are biased. They'll try to say we're mentally ill, but how come we can't call them that if they're actively making fun of people that kill themselves that didn't deserve it because they saw no other way to escape from the hell that they've been put in. And for VTubers, or even some of their audiences, mostly their audiences watching this, that are unaware of some of these things that right-wingers are doing, I want you to look through some of the shit that's happening right now, even throughout history, in American history, and some of these things that these people say. I want you to know, why do you think that this is okay, or why this is something that should be just like looked over, or be like, it's no big deal. I just want to know why you would think that way about some of this behavior. I want you to know how bad this behavior can be, just so you know how bad it can get if it spreads and continues to do as it has been for a long time, as it already has been since it has been placed in power. And here's a video that I watched about PewDiePie's effect on young people's views and bigotry as well. There was something notable here where they showed a few screenshots of people like Tom Ska backing down on any bigotry and showing that, hey, I'm not with this stuff. And if you're anyone in my audience that watches me that likes this kind of stuff, you can fuck right off because I don't fuck with bigots and Nazis. And I think that's pretty based. You know, people, big content creators like Jacksepticeye, you know, Tom Ska, Markiplier, whoever the fuck else you want to note, you know, they're obviously against this bullshit. But you still have motherfuckers like Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too soon? That have already captivated these young people's minds and have already like indoctrinated them to think and believe the same way that they do, which is very bad. And right-wing VTubers are doing the same thing with their audiences and with the VTubing community in general by having this debate downplayed and be like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just opinions, right? I know how much you want trans people to die, but that's just your opinion. That's no big deal, right? We shouldn't bring politics in the VTubing community. So yeah, basically, this will just lead to any other VTubers that are oblivious to any piece of history or whatever is going on, or just too nice about this. They can possibly just be warmed up to these people and then just happen to endorse things that they do and then have this behavior be normalized, as well as to the other big VTubers and content creators as well, as it already is slowly starting to be. So that's why I also want to join in the fight of trying to push back against stuff like this in the VTubing community. Because if you know what, if these right-wing VTubers and dipshits want to complain about, you know, left-wing VTubers as well as trans and other minority VTubers that want to speak out on their voice against this bullshit, you know what, if they want to complain about us doing it, then we could do the same by complaining about them doing it. If they feel like we shouldn't be doing that, then neither should they be. You know, fair's fair. And I'm not trying to make this to be like an eye-to-eye sort of thing, but also to just be able to channel our voices as well. I want to be, you know, a part of that, as have you seen me, you know, talk about it a few times as well, and on stream as well, which you should follow my Twitch. And speaking of, I'm planning to do that more on my Twitch channel as well, and more commentate against people like these. Because people like Nyara, who she is most notable for doing this sort of stuff, and other people like Anna, Hearts, whoever else I can think of and that I follow, those people have my full respect for leading on this torch, despite everything that's happening, you know. And I know I'm sounding cheesy saying that, but I really genuinely do, you know. And I obviously appreciate anyone else that has as well came out of the closet, even doing something as saying like, oh, I like trans people, or hey, I'm gay. You know what? That's powerful enough on itself against this dark world of right-wingdings. And I think to top this all off too is that Nyara has recently been slandered against by some random person on Twitter who had reposted a link or a source from Kiwi Farms where it's just a bunch of fake and fabricated screenshots about weird behavior from her when none of this has ever happened. And of course, Nyara had to make a quick response to this, as obviously, you know, a majority of this is just really fake even reading this. And you want to know the worst part about this? People believed it. Not just from the right, not just transphobic dumbasses, but like people that she was, you know, mutuals, or even just like, even some friends that she was with too as well. People just dropped her when that just came out. Like, they didn't even bother just like looking into it. They just believed it. It got pushed because she's trans. And yeah, even some of her own friends got affected by this too, with people not associating with them anymore because of Nyara and Marina. Because you want to know why? They want to suppress trans people like this. And they'll even make up shit like this. And they don't care if it's fake. They want to still keep spreading this message that trans people are groomers. So, you know what? The very least I could do to help a sister out is, you know, go check her out. Go follow her on Twitch. Subscribe to her channel and stuff. And, you know, give her some love, alright? And hopefully, by saying this, is at least spread some sort of awareness about her. That's all I just wanted to say. So, yeah. Goodbye.
Why did they make the white one evil, bro? Come on, don't make it too much like real life.